Hey guys, Lizardlea here for For Heavenly Beasts Day 11. I can't. I know you can count to over 100 in sign language, but I don't know how, so. That's the progress from day 10. You can seriously see the tiger, like his head. Raw hair. And that's his mouth. I'm really excited. It's not even 2 weeks and I'm most of the way through the second page. So this is good. I just need to keep that momentum going. I don't really have anything else to talk about. Because of the coronavirus, I haven't been able to get this framed. I'm not going to have it framed in time for Kim's birthday, so happy birthday, Kim! I'm going to probably end up showing her this on her birthday, because everything is still going to be closed the beginning of April, so lovely. I don't think I have anything else to talk about, so let's get to stitching.
Okay, we are recording. So you get to talk about Cowboy Bebop.
Yes, Cowboy Bebop.
Bang.
Okay. So first of all, yes, I think Cowboy Bebop is good. It's pretty famous. It was very popular in the West, especially among people in my age group, because it was one of those things that was on a... Was it Adult Swim or did it make Toonami? No, it was Adult Swim. And so it was something that we all had access to, and it's very, very vaguely kind of like Firefly.
But I love Firefly.
Mm-hmm,
It had good characters. I didn't hate the women.
Right, so, Cowboy Bebop is, sort of bums in space, bounty hunters, with a lot of episodic, like, problem of the week sort of thing, and a small overarching plot. And I think that's pretty fair for non-spoiler. It's, like, kind of quasi-future in that, like, yeah, there's space and whatnot, and they're traveling between planets, but it's, not beyond the solar system, I don't think. And a lot of it's still fairly relatable, so whatever, that's good enough. Anyways, into spoiler territory.
I said I didn't like the women. That's a lie. I did like Ed. Ed was a good girl.
Yes.
Mai, however, can die in fire.
Not...
Or no, my Valentine is Yu-Gi-Oh! And I like her. Valentine from this can die in a fire. Faye Valentine. Yeah, no. I don't like her.
So Liz is not a fan of Faye, which is not hard to
believe at all.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not like that's unfair, exactly. She's a very polarizing character. She is literally drawn for sex appeal, and that's very, 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 very obvious.
And
she's
she plays on that, too.
Yeah, although I think in a way that almost... It's clearly a part of her character for reasons that come up later because of her past and what's happened. And yeah, it's still definitely for fan service, and it's some pretty egregious fan service. But I thought her actual character was interesting because she's not a good person, and she's not a good person for some sort of legit reasons. Because she doesn't have much reason to be one. And I thought that was interesting, and Liz could not begin to care less.
Yeah,
so,
I hated her. I mean, I didn't even really like... What was his name? Spike? What's that?
Spike, yes.
Yeah. Didn't care for him either.
Yeah.
Like, the only characters that I liked were Jet, the Corgi, and Ed.
Yeah, Liz is not a fan of, like, gray morality characters.
I feel gray. It's when it's a dark gray or darker that I'm like...
Spike's not really a problem.
He was a butthead.
Yeah,
I mean, he wasn't interesting to me.
Fair enough.
Like,
So either way, my fun story with this show, for those of you who've watched it, there is a particular episode, about halfway through the series.
Oh, the fridge one.
With the fridge, yeah. And if you've watched it, you know what I mean. And all you need to know if you haven't watched it is this is a non-standard episode. It's kind of like when a sitcom decides to do a musical. So, like, if you were to only watch that episode, you would not have a very accurate representation of the rest
what the
of
actual show is, yeah.
So the very first episode I ever saw was that episode. It was like 11:30 at night or something on a school night, and I stayed up and watched it and was like, what just happened? Like, I know there's more episodes, and yet it appears they have killed every single character. And it was creepy and it was weird. And so then, like, months went by and I tried to watch again and I caught this same episode. So for a long, long time, that was my experience with Cowboy Bebop until I was a little bit older and I just started watching them all as they would air. And even then, there was 1 or 2 episodes I could never catch. So it wasn't until I was, like, through college that I finally saw the Clown Assassin, is what we're going to call him, episode at the
Is it the
carnival.
amusement park?
Yeah,
Oh,
the
okay.
amusement park. Which is the only episode my brother's ever seen.
With the kitties.
Yes,
The
with the kitties that
yeah.
he's afraid of, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Bebop's pretty good. As far as like that sort of quasi-believable cyberpunk future, and that like it's not grandiose in any way, shape, or form. You know, technology isn't making us all hyper super people, and you know, people just live their lives. The setting is slightly different. Earth is totally wrecked because something went really, really wrong in the past, and that's not a big plot point that they're going to solve and secretly like. They might actually, I think, at one point uncover that, like, yeah, one of these companies was probably responsible for that, but it doesn't matter or change anything. Mm-hmm. It's just sort of like, yeah, fun fact. And the main overarching plot, as far as the main character is concerned, is kind of passive. Like, yeah, it's an unresolved grudge, living on borrowed time, film noir sort of vibe. And I don't know, I apparently eat that up. So, I don't know.
Knives in my eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brick. Great movie. Watch it.
It has Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who's a wonderful actor. But if you are not good at understanding, like, Old English type speaking, I don't know how to... Okay, non-standard
Ye old
English...
dame.
Handsome man! I'm trying to explain it.
I know.
Non-standard English, it's not going to make any sense.
Okay, so
It made no sense to me. I had no idea what these people were saying. Knives in my eyes apparently means you're tired. In my world, you just say you're tired, like, and that means you're tired.
She's being unfair. This is very
I'm
standard.
not wrong. I'm not lying. That is
No.
that is the quote that I always use
It's
for
a
that movie.
quote, because, yeah, and you're the only one... Anyone who's
Because I didn't know anything he was saying. Like, 80% of the time, I was like, what does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean?
It's contextual. But whatever.
No.
Point is, it's
I wasn't
like
picking up on the context.
Is that supposed to be like 1950s, 60s, hard-boiled film noir detective speak stuff at a high school? So yeah, anyways, Liz doesn't like that stuff, and now I need to make a Shakespeare version of that because you're like, ye old dame.
I don't understand Shakespeare English either,
Well,
so
yes, that's much
non-standard English is very difficult for me. I can't.
Not a fan of context. So,
Screw you.
anyways, back on Bebop. Is there anything else worth? I mean, like, it's really one of the best examples of like a future setting that's grounded in reality. Like, yeah, there's neat tech and stuff, but the way it's used, the way it affects the average person's life in the show, and the way society works is all very, very believable. And that's, I think, why I like it so much, because with everything else, especially, you know, futuristic settings, you often get, like, oh, well, now we all have laser guns and blah, blah, blah. I mean, the character carries a freaking revolver, or not him, Jet does, or is it a normal-looking pistol, and everyone's using normal machine guns, because, yeah, it turns out that's still effective. So it's just a good character story. The designs are really, really good. The animation is really, really good. The choreography is really, really good. And Liz hates it.
No, I will say the animation was really good. They did a great job animating that show. I like better characters.
Uh-huh. Alright. So moving on.
Yes, moving on.
Stuff we don't know. Do I know this? Let me see if it's got a different name. No, this I have no memory of this. Vinland Saga. Okay, I can speak to that. I think you even watched a little bit of it while I was watching it. It's Vikings. Well done, dear.
Oh! Yeah, I know nothing about it.
Revenge
though.
Vikings. That's actually fairly good.
Was it they were gonna kill the little boy, or they did kill the little boy?
No. The synopsis, and this is not a spoiler, even though it kind of spoils something that happens early on. It's literally just the setup for the show. Is there's a really, really, really powerful Viking, and this all takes place during when the Vikings were reaving across Europe, sort of thing.
They mostly live in Minnesota. If you guys know what movie that quote is from, I love you. Continue.
Okay. So this Viking decides that he's just had enough of it, so he goes over, when he gets knocked overboard, rather than coming up, he swims off, because he's a super Viking, so he can swim forever, apparently, and decides to start a new life. And he started his life, and his child comes with him when all of a sudden one of his old battle buddies shows up and goes, hey, guess what? We found you. You're coming with us to help with something or everybody here dies. Or not even you're coming with us. You're going to go do something. Lo and behold, it's a trap, and you meet a bounty hunter, or not a bounty hunter, a mercenary Viking named Askeladd, who fights Dad Viking and loses to him, but it's not a fair fight, and they both knew it, and so as his deal is don't kill anyone else, and so he goes, okay, fine, and kills the dad. So it's a revenge story because the kid wants to kill Askeladd, and it's very, very famous because it's based on a manga that's been running forever that's often mentioned in the same breath as, like, Berserk, which is high praise. I've never read it, I've never tried, and I didn't get much farther in the anime. So, spoilers from here on out, from what little I know. But, yeah, the main... Well, sorry, actually, yeah, whatever. Too late. People have left. But, I guess the main selling point of it is the kid now works for the mercenary, Askeladd.
That killed his father. And his goal is basically to get good... If he does well enough, he will allow him a match against himself to avenge his father. Mm-hmm. So it's an interesting dynamic because, my understanding anyways, is that Askeladd basically becomes this kid's father figure because they kind of time skip ahead, so the kid's a bit older. But he still obviously hates the man as well. And he's a really interesting character, and it's very well done. Again, it's got a sort of grounded take on things where things don't always go nice. It's a really brutal depiction of war. Like, these are, even your quote-unquote protagonists, even your good ones who are, like, nice people, they're Viking reavers. Like, they're doing horrible stuff when they fight. Or when they just need to do horrible stuff, because, hey, we found a village that's not defended. These people are all dead now. Yeah.
It's really brutal. It's really quite interesting, and I could not get into it because the start is just the most bog-standard revenge story, and it's by the beats, and it's well executed, but I'm like, yeah, I've seen this before. Mm-hmm. And the most interesting character to me is, of course, Askeladd, as I've said, it's the only name I remember.
Literally the only name.
And he's done really, really well, and I can see why he's really, really interesting, and I happen to know some things that make me very, very less interested. So since I didn't see that, there's no point spoiling it, but yeah, I think he's absolutely the star of the whole thing, and it's something I might want to try reading instead, because like I can skip ahead easier if I'm like, yep, kid gets angry, yep, kid does stupid thing, yep, person teaches kid not to do stupid thing, let's get to where we start going off script, and it had potential, but I couldn't quite get into it. The one notable thing, though, is it's the only, like, long-running battle manga, or whatever they're called. Like, there's Berserk, Vinland, and there's another one I can't remember, that's gotten a good anime adaptation. Berserk got one anime adaptation eons ago that was good, but ended all out of nowhere. And then every anime adaptation since then has had a lot of mostly justified criticism. I thought the movies weren't terrible, but I can understand why people were upset. And then the most recent season was, like, just atrocious. So,
which version had the really, really hyper creepy 3D computer generated graphics for Berserk? Because that was so creepy.
Technically the movie, but there was also the anime had CG graphics too.
Yeah, that one was creepy. The movies were fine. It was the show that had just
creepy, like, as in like these normal people don't look right.
They don't look like people.
Okay, yeah. That's the anime.
Yeah,
I'm like, do you mean the demons look creepy? Because they're supposed to.
Like, yeah, that's normal. Yeah. Everybody looked creepy because it was just like, this is a new form of art for you guys, and you haven't quite got it down in a good way yet.
And while Berserk takes it up to 12 on the violence and disturbingness scale, it is somewhat fascinating to me that they can't get a good anime adaptation of this, because it does really well, to my knowledge, as a manga, and it's got amazing praise. and yet they just, like, don't even try when they do the adaptations. I have no idea what the plot
I don't know. We're not on Berserk yet. What's next?
Boxing anime I never saw. Code Geass we already talked about, just the first season instead of the second. How is the second season? You know what? Never mind.
We already talked about all of Code Geass.
I know. What is this? Nope, don't know. Monster. So I've been told that I would like Monster a lot, and I have tried watching Monster, and my take on Monster is it ran from 2004 to 2005, is that even for that time frame, it is a really slowly paced anime, and that if it were faster paced, I would probably love it, but it takes its frickin' time. The plot is that a doctor saves a man, and that man's a serial killer. And then he goes around and starts basically tormenting the doctor, like following him, killing people, messing with him for reasons, air quotes. And I forget what the specifics of that are anyways, so I can't exactly spoil it.
It was like he and his sister were separated at birth or something.
We're getting into the spoiler territory. But
well, yeah.
So, whatever.
I haven't seen it, and I personally have no interest in it, but I read about it because people were like, oh, if you like horror, you know, this is a good one to look into, and I was like, that doesn't interest me, so... The
concept is interesting. I find serial killer stuff that's done well interesting because it's such a fascinating concept of, like...
I don't know, like, from what I read, it didn't...
Well, what's interesting about it is he seems to have a moral argument in his actions. Now, obviously, it's horrifying, but, like, it's taking it deeper than just, wouldn't it be scary if there was a guy who was killing people in horrible ways? It's supposed to be really more than that. In fact, I think a lot of the murders aren't even that, like, brutal or anything. It's like he shoots people, you know? I hear it's still pretty disturbing the farther you go, though.
I mean, he is mentally disturbed.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, graphically so.
Ah, gotcha.
But yeah, either way, it's so frickin' slow. I would love a, like, recut that kind of sums this stuff up, or a movie, because
it's too slow.
There's episodes where, like, I swear nothing happened, where, like, yeah, the doctor's just living his life and worried about this guy and blah 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 blah, and, like, great, we introduced 3 new characters, we're gonna have something happen, and oh my god, that was 30 minutes of nothing. Like, I can't do it. Like, and maybe if this were, like, an episode that were ongoing, I could watch it, you know, while I do something else, but knowing that there's 74 episodes of this is just like, no, I'm out. I can't.
Yeah.
So I think that's all I've got on that, unless you've got something.
I mean, he's blonde, blue-eyed, so I saw it and I was like, is he a Nazi? So, I mean, I'm just saying. I have German heritage, alright? Y'all calm down. Also, I'm dating a Jew, so calm down further.
JoJo Part 5. I can comment a little on JoJo. I
haven't seen any of JoJo. The characters all look kind of creepy to me. But I have been told I would like it, so maybe one day.
Really? Who told you that?
I've had a lot of friends tell me that they like JoJo.
JoJo's... So, like, I tried to watch a season of JoJo. I want to say, like, the one before 3... I don't know, Stardust something or other. I don't think you'd like it. I don't know. First of all, I've heard every season of JoJo is very, very different. So, like, this is one of those cases where the fact they've broken it into parts maybe makes sense. Like, yeah, I can see Part 5 being way higher on this list than maybe Part 4 or Part 3 or whatever.
Is Part 5 the one with the time guy who manipulates it?
King Crimson, yes.
That's cool. That's cool.
And I admit I'm very interested, and I might give Part 5 a shot. I don't even know how to describe JoJo. If you haven't had it described, go look it up. There's no real easy way to do it other than to say, it's freaking weird. And
isn't
it
it like
revels
the
in its
original one is
weirdness.
what, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure?
Yeah, they're all JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Oh, they all?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's no,
oh, this is
no,
the Japanese, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm sure that translates. But
they
point
named
is,
that on purpose.
Frankly, if you don't know anything about JoJo, all you need to know is it's very over-the-top sort of battle anime where, like, yeah, we're going to go fight, and everyone's got powers, and their powers are called stands, which are when they're being simple, that's like having a ghost that will fight for you, and the ghost can do cool things like stop time. And when they're not being simple, it's like owning a shovel or being like the what's his name does a really good breakdown of this.
The guy on YouTube.
Super Eye Patch Wolf. Go look up his videos; they're awesome. But yeah, I can't explain it other than to say it's a really over the top, stylized battle thing with a really weird take, and it interests me. But I'm not sure I can watch it because at the same time, it can be incredibly formulaic. Like, imagine just your most basic Dragon Ball Z episode, but with way more interesting character designs. And you're like, okay, cool. Or like a Pokemon series of like, cool, we met today's character. Oh, cool, it's Brock. Oh, cool, we beat Brock. Oh, cool, Brock joined the party. Like, just 60 episodes of that, you know? Maybe not 60, but a bunch of episodes of that. And that was kind of the vibe I was getting. We're like, okay, first 7 episodes, we're going to fight and beat people, and they're going to become buddies. Next 8 episodes, we've got team buddies, we're going to fight and beat people who aren't going to be buddies, but some of them are going to be empathetic. And then, like, last arc is going to be Big Boss arc. Like, that was so... And every character is built like they could bench press a bus by accident.
So David is a snob, basically?
No, it's even by snobby standards, like, it's... Even by non-snobby standards, it's really, really, really anime by the numbers.
You are a bit of a snob.
Oh, no, I know. I'm straight, but, like, even outside of that, it's easy to go, like, yeah, okay, we know exactly where this is going by how the character is drawn. Like, gee, this guy's wearing a trench coat and has 2 colors in his entire palette. I think he's going to be gone before the end of the episode. Oh, this guy looks like he's straight out of an LSD dream from David Bowie. Like, I guess he's going to be on the main cast soon.
I like it.
But I hear that one of the reasons it's popular is each part is really, really different, too.
Yes. Said that.
So, okay, well, I repeated it. So yeah, take that. Now they really know. What's next? I have no knowledge of this. Gurren Lagann.
My spiral is the one that will pierce the heavens!
Drill, dear.
Whatever!
You tried.
I say it wrong every single time. That was such a good anime, though.
And you had no faith in it when we started.
I did not. I was like, what is this? This little kid with his stupid drill is so annoying. Like, this is dumb. And then, I fell in love. And my original favorite character...
Spoiler?
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, you do your synopsis, and then we'll go into spoiler territory.
I mean, I highly doubt anyone cares, but...
If you haven't seen it, you need to see it. It is worth it. It's so good, you guys.
And stick it out like 3 episodes.
Yeah. The first, it's a rough start, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
Go.
So, the short version is a kid who kind of lives underground with his whole society of people who live underground, is kind of a loser, just doesn't really know where he belongs.
His name is Simone, by the way.
And he's like 12, 13, I think. Mm-hmm. And his older brother is, an adopted brother basically, is much cooler, but sort of also screw up in ways. And all of a sudden, one day, a giant mech crashes through into their world, and it sort of becomes a mecha anime. And that's about as far as I can go without major spoilers. So, if you haven't seen it, do yourself a favor, watch it. It's on Netflix. It's dubbed.
So worth it,
it's
you guys.
It's weird, as far as, like, if you've never been exposed to anime, there's some weird stuff in there. But it's still a really good plot. So, okay, go ahead.
What is the older brother's name?
Kamina.
What?
Kamina.
Okay, so Kamina was my original favorite character upon watching the show. Guess who dies very early on in the show?
Like episode?
Kamina does! Of course, because he was my favorite. And my favorite character never gets to live. So that was awesome. But he did kiss What's-Her-Face, and I shipped them really hard, so I was happy with that. But then he died. Was the same episode, or was the very next episode?
It was the same episode.
Yeah, they kiss, and then he dies.
It's a death curse.
Yeah, shut up. There is a time skip, and older Simone is your favorite character.
Probably, yeah.
I really liked older Simone as well. I liked his girlfriend, too. I don't remember her name.
I do not off the top
She
of my
was
head.
so pretty. Oh my gosh. And she was just such a good character. And it wasn't until his dying episode, but the guy who controlled the star mech, I cried. I ugly cried when he died, you guys. I was like, oh my gosh, yes, this is amazing. I like him now. This is cool. And then he dies. And I was like, what? Like, you make me like him, finally, and then you kill him? Really? So, they killed 2 of the characters that I really, really like. And then, you get to the very end of the anime, major spoilers, you guys, and Simon's girlfriend dies. So they killed 3 of my favorite characters on this show.
And Liz loves it, see?
And it's
Cowboy
so
Bebop,
good.
they all made it to the end, hates it. Gurren Lagann, 3 down, A+.
They didn't? Oh, you mean my favorites made it, yes. It's worth it. Like, it's depressing. I cried so much, but it was so good. And, I mean, how many anime have I had a big quote for? I did for Full Metal.
No.
And Gurren Lagann,
I'm pretty sure you could quote Full Metal, like the entire thing.
Oh, yeah,
A
like,
one-woman play.
Yeah, I would do it. But no, that's what I'm saying, is like, Gurren Lagann has made it to the point where there's a quote. Yes, I say it wrong every single time, but if I were to go out and be like, my drill is the one that will drill to the heavens, people would know what I'm talking about if they'd seen it. Okay, well, you said drill before.
Yeah, but you said spiral.
Oh, my
before.
spiral. Oh, okay. My drill is the one that will pierce the heavens!
Yes.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah, okay, cool.
I'm still gonna quote it wrong in the future, you guys.
Believe in me, believes in you, believes in
no.
yourself. Yeah. So anyways.
So all my favorite characters died, and it was still amazing.
So
I did love Simone. The older Simone. So time skip him was great.
Yes.
He was really, really good looking, too.
So yeah, it was pretty interesting because I watched Gurren Lagann when it came out in 2007, apparently. And again, I really, really, really liked mecha growing up. I've mentioned it a zillion times already. And this was odd because the very first episode is like, okay, that was kind of weird, and we're like underground. And then in the span of the anime, they go from like living in holes underground and like colonies of 50 people tops to throwing galaxies at each other. Like, it is ridiculous how far this goes. And it's so very, very well done because it really is, at its core, like a coming-of-age story. Like, really blatantly when you think about it. But
it amps really well. Like, they don't just go from the hole to throwing galaxies. There's progression.
Yeah, and the really cool thing it does is it mixes its tones very, very, very well. There are some laugh-out-loud funny scenes, in my opinion. Like, the first time they fuse, where he's just like, okay, now we have 2 faces, and just slams one robot into the other one, and that works, because why not?
It was great.
Or when he draws the sword, and like he's giving a dramatic speech while he draws his sword, but his speech is longer than his sword should be, so he just keeps drawing his sword, and his sword just keeps getting longer and longer and longer, because he's still talking. Like, it's got a really great sense of humor. It's got some dumb humor and fan servicey stuff, in my opinion. But it also actually does serious plot beats. Like, it really throws you off balance because it's not screwing around. Like, very, very early on, Kamina, the older brother, is like, yeah, my father made it to the surface, and I know the surface exists, and I know it's important, so I'm going to go to the surface, and I'm going to find my father. And almost immediately, like, okay, yeah, so he'll find his father, and we'll find out what's going on in this world, and that'll fill us in on the backstory. Like, that would be the cliche way to do this. And almost immediately, they find his father's corpse.
Yep.
And it's like, yep, he made it out and died almost immediately.
Yeah.
He didn't get anywhere, he didn't accomplish anything, and, like, that's actually really, really interesting, and then how he handles that and deals with that is actually a big part of the point of that kind of show, like, explaining, like, how to be mature and growing up.
And then they kill him.
Yeah, well, and that was the other big one where, like, yeah, okay, so Kamina is basically built up to be the cool character.
Yeah, he is the main protagonist. Simone
Simon's
ultimately
the main,
become...
but...
I would say both of them. At the start, like, they both are equally important. They're both held to that same standard of, like, yeah, he is the hero of the story.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're like, oh, they're both going to survive. They're going to team up. You know, this is a superhero and this is his sidekick.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, no, we're going to kill a superhero.
Yeah. And it's out of nowhere again, because, like, you don't think that the tone of this show ties with the idea of them killing a main character.
Yeah, it doesn't.
And then
but they did it.
Shortly after, they time skip, and it gets a lot less silly and a lot more serious. I mean, a lot of the gag humor goes away, and that's, again, kind of intentional, because, like, you're growing up, things change, it's not as, like...
Not everything is funny anymore.
Yeah. And that's, you know... It's really, really well done, and it makes it really enjoyable because it's kind of all over the place, and it's just good. The same guy did Kill la Kill, which I don't think is nearly as good. I know a lot of people love it. I couldn't get into it at all.
I know nothing about it. I think that's the one where she has, like, the really, really
ridiculously
skinny...
skimpy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's supposed to, in theory, I've been told it's like, oh, but it's a coming-of-age story for girls, and I'm like...
I don't want to hear that from a guy's perspective,
well, no, I've heard that from women, but... Like, and I've some of the people I know who love it are girls who are like, oh no, it nails that, but like some of the ones who hate it also are girls who are like, yeah, but no. So I can't comment on that. All I can say is I just don't feel it had the charm in the character. It just felt less clever and well put together. So
Gurren Lagann is a go. You should watch it. It's amazing.
Very good.
It's worth it.
So what do we have?
Literally the day after we finished this anime, or maybe we were like halfway through it. It was around that time, though. I was still at Michael's, and I went to work, and there was a guy in the glue aisle, and he was like, yeah, you know, I'm trying to make a cosplay for Kamina, and, you know, I have to be able to glue this material to this material, and I was like, oh, you're talking about Gurren Lagann? And he looked at me like I had 3 heads, and he was like, you know what Gurren Lagann is? And I was like, yeah, it's awesome! And he was just like, oh my god, like... I think he fell in love with me a little bit in that moment because he was a dork, but that was okay. I helped him, and hopefully his cosplay turned out great. No. I don't know. I never saw him again. Or if I did, I didn't remember him. I was dating David, so I don't see men anymore that way. Only my handsome men.
So the next one is one we haven't seen but we wanted to watch, which is The Promised Neverland, which is, as far as I know, basically kids are living in a happy little forest perfect land, except it's not really perfect and it's horrifying and they're all geniuses, and that's about the extent I know of it.
We're gonna stick with that because I really want to see it, and I do know more spoilers than that, but cannot confirm if it's good or not, so I don't want to talk more about it.
Best thing ever.
One Punch Man! Alright, so...
You thought this was dumb!
I watched the first, 2 or 3 episodes before I moved in with David, and I thought it was stupid. I was like, how can they make a show interesting about a guy who literally kills everything he punches in one hit? I stand by that, alright? When we re-watched it, the first 3 episodes are boring. They're boring, okay? Deal with it. I think they're boring.
But fine. You're allowed to be wrong.
But, you guys, you can disagree as long as you like it in the end. This is what counts because it is an amazing show. It is worth sticking around. Because it's not just like, oh, how are they going to make it interesting with a guy who kills someone in one punch? They make it interesting. And there are other superheroes. Moomin Rider, for instance. He was adorable. I love him. I don't know what happened to my voice, my accent, and the way I'm talking. I said Moomin Rider weird, and then it just messed everything up for me.
She also slips into a Jersey accent when she's angry, which is weird because she's not from Jersey.
But my grandma is, so don't even.
That's
my dad is from Jersey.
Does your dad have a Jersey accent?
Nobody says robot instead of robot. And I'm sure there are other words.
Right.
That's just the one that sticks out to me. No, okay, so he was great. My favorite character was Genos.
Yeah.
The robot. He was amazing. I mean, can we just go straight to spoilers? Because, One Punch Man is just kills everything he punches with one punch.
The very short synopsis is, hero who is bored with life because he's so strong, he kills everything with one punch, and he doesn't know what to do, and it's completely ridiculous and over the top, and if you haven't seen it, you should go watch it.
Oh, yeah. He got to be the way he is by doing 100 push-ups.
100 sit-ups.
100 sit-ups.
100 crunches.
Kilometers.
And a 10-kilometer run every day.
Yeah. It was, way too simple.
Yeah.
But it's true. That's what happened. And he starts out gorgeous, and he has beautiful hair, and then he works out, and he becomes really powerful, and he loses all his hair. So he's bald because he's so strong. Like, it's really silly. But it's good. Genos is my favorite. And he is incredibly powerful. He's part robot, and he's really strong. He does not win a single fight on the show. Or does he win, like, one?
I mean, he has effects at times on events.
Is he the one that defeats the enemies?
I feel like there's maybe in the end a smaller fight that he gets to rock out in. I could be wrong.
I swear he was not the one who defeated an
He is a
enemy,
robot
ever.
simply so he can be absolutely obliterated.
Yeah.
Like, that is literally
My
the
poor
reason they made him a
baby.
robot.
Also, his music, his theme, is spectacular. So if you do nothing else with the show, you should look up Genos' theme from One Punch Man. Like, there's this crazy fight with Centipede? Millipede?
In which season?
The final season.
Season 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Centipede. Okay. There is this gigantic centipede, and by gigantic, I mean, like...
A city span.
Yes, bigger than a city. It's terrifying. I mean, we already have issues with centipedes, so seeing a gigantic one like that, I would probably just die. And Genos is... It looks like he's doing great, and he's kicking some butt, and then the centipede, like, sheds his skin and crushes him, and then One Punch Man takes him out in one hit. And it was really disappointing because I really wanted Genos to shine, and he did not. He just got his butt handed to him.
As is tradition. So yeah, I mean, if you somehow like anime fight scene stuff and don't know about this, you need to watch it. It has every single... The part of the reason it's so famous is because every single anime fight is done in like a different style, in a different way, showing off different cool stuff. And the final fight at the end of the first season is the best choreographed, flowed thing I think I've ever seen, at least in my
Period.
opinion. Like, it's amazingly well done.
Oh my goodness. It was spectacular.
Unfortunately, season 2 doesn't get quite the budget, and so it's not quite as star spectacle, but it still does...
good.
Oh yeah, and the show still does a wonderful job of kind of showing his obscene power level. Where, like, you know, you'll watch someone do something that in any other anime would have been like, that's the big cool moment. And it's supposed to be. And then Genos comes up and, like, you know, backhands them into, like, a spray. Or, you know, knocks the clouds out of the sky, he hits something so hard. Or...
Genos?
Or, sorry, yeah, Saitama.
I
Genos...
was about to say, Genos is the one that's probably flying into the clouds.
Genos is probably lying in pieces on the ground
Yeah,
somewhere.
my poor
Yes.
baby.
Yeah, he exists. Again, I'm not joking when I say they literally designed him as a cyborg so that he could get ripped apart every single fight, so the bad guy could flex before Saitama solves the problem once
Yep,
and for all.
Saitama is
And
One
there are-
Punch Man, by the way.
Plenty of other characters who are also very, very cool.
I mean, like, all the people...
The
top, like,
S-class.
10 heroes, yeah.
Yeah.
King, right, is spectacular.
Yeah.
So he looks incredibly intimidating. He looks awesome. He cannot fight to save his life. He is a big wimp. He... People think that his accomplishments... People think that Saitama's accomplishments are his. So when Saitama goes out and punches someone and they die immediately, King oftentimes will just be walking by, you know, going grocery shopping, and they're like, "Oh, King saved us!" So he's getting credit for all of the spectacular things that Saitama is doing. And it's spectacular, because there's one scene where he's, like, confronted with an enemy, and he's just standing there. And he looks calm, cool, and collected. But you hear his inner monologue, and you can hear his heart is pounding 1,000 miles a minute.
Well, no, the better part
And
is...
he's crying on the inside.
They think that's an omen of his power. His heart starts racing so fast, everyone can hear it. And they don't realize it's that he's in utter paralyzing terror. They think it's a sign that he's about to attack them and destroy them.
And he's gonna kill them.
And it goes faster and faster the more the enemy won't back down until they get scared and back. It's just...
It's so funny that, like, they believe so much that he has the powers of Saitama that they often just walk away from him so he doesn't have to fight anybody.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorites. That was so funny learning that. It was great. Genos is number 1 though. Who's your favorite?
I mean, Saitama's pretty great.
Of course.
I mean, it's hard to have favorites because like everyone's just kind of like filling a niche.
Moomin Rider.
Moomin Rider is well done.
You have like 10 seconds.
I like the Tornado Girl. She was pretty awesome.
Is that the witch?
The psychic.
The psychic. Okay.
Yeah. And then actually,
The
my
really
favorite
short
character
psychic.
probably in the entire thing is the alien at the end of the first season.
Oh my god, that was so amazing. You guys, seriously, if you can't put up with it, you need to just watch the fight in the final
Season.
episodes of season 1.
Yeah.
Totally amazing. So worth it. And I believe that
is the end of For Heavenly Beasts Day 11. I got 5 hours and 50 minutes of footage. It's actually not very late, but my shoulder is sore, and then the camera is having a hard time with the darker spots, and I'm almost done with the tiger at this point. So I'm getting up to the higher area where it's a lot darker. We'll see. I finished Dresden Book 11. I'm almost caught up to the author, and I don't like waiting. I just want to read the whole book series. I'm making a lot of noise. What are you eating?
Jello.
I want a Jello.
I got you one.
Okay, love you.
Nothing more.
Love you the most.
Thermopyline.
I'm gonna sign off now.